welcome to Turn the Page, the official podcast of the Syosset Public Library.
Hello, everybody. I am Evelyn Hershkowitz, Reader Services Librarian here at the Syosset Public Library. And I am here today for a Turn the Page podcast with a very special guest, Jennifer Probst. Thank you. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, you pronounced it perfectly.
Okay, great. So Jennifer is a New York Times and US Today best-selling author of contemporary romance fiction. She is the author of the Billionaire Builder series, the Searching For series, the Marriage to a Billionaire series, the Steele Brothers series, the Stay series, and the Sunshine Sisters series. Like some of her characters, Probst, along with her husband and two sons, calls New York Hudson Valley home. When she isn't traveling to meet readers, she's enjoying reading, watching shameful reality TV, and visiting a local Hudson Valley animal shelter. So that's nice that you live right here up in upstate New York. But I also found that you have a business degree and a master's in English literature.
Yes.
And you've published over 40 books.
Yes. In fact, the book that I just turned into my editor was The Magical Number 50.
My gosh.
It's really cool. I mean,
congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, I remember when I was like 11 years old and sneaking in my romance novels so my mom wouldn't see, and like literally holding them to my chest going, do you think that maybe one day this could be me, you know? And it just never gets old. It's so magical that I got to that number.
Wow, that is pretty incredible. When did you start writing?
I started writing when I was 12. I mean, it was so weird to have this kind of writing has always been like my North Star. You know how some people are just born. It always intrigues me, like you'll put maybe a child like with a tennis racket in their hand, right? Like Serena Williams, and all of a sudden it's like, yes, or a violin. And all of a sudden, like they'll be like, mine was writing. The minute I started to read books, I knew that I was going to be a writer. And when I was 12, this was like way before the internet. And the only thing we had was like Writer's Digest, and my library was everything. Because I'd go to my library and take out books about being a writer or trying to do it. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to be a writer. I'm going to write my book. And so at 12 years old, I took a pen longhand and I took a big giant folder and I worked on that book for a year. And it was like a high school romance. And that's all I knew. I was like, okay, well, that's what you do. You just write. And then, of course, as the years went by, this thing called money started happening. I'm like, oh, wait, you need to find a way to make money out of this. And it became this whole thing. But it was always in my life, like even through college or business, my jobs, I would write on weekends. I was always pursuing that. It was just hard to break into that kind of industry and actually make a living at it. That was really the challenge for me.
So when did that happen?
Oh my goodness, it happened late. I think I had my first book published in my 30s, and that sold maybe 50 copies to my family, friends, and mom, you know.
Did you self-publish back then, or?
No, it was an actual publisher, but the publisher was very lesser known. Mm-hmm. And then I published a couple of things, shorts and novellas online, and that did okay, but it really didn't make a name for myself. And then, like you said, I settled down, I got married, I had 2 kids within like 2 years of each other. And I decided to pursue a master's of English because I figured, okay, while I'm writing, maybe I'll teach. You know, that was a good way to keep, because I wanted to be around words and literature and everything. And as I was doing that, I was so busy, but I just kept at it. And then the stars began to align when I was in my 40s. And this book that I had been working on for like 6 years, I sent it to every place in New York, every agent ever created, every publishing company ever created. And I got rejection after rejection. They kept saying, it'll never sell, it'll never sell. And I kept going, wow, I just don't know why I believe in this book. I was so stubborn. I was like, I feel like this book is special. And finally, this new publisher came. It was an online publisher, and they were doing romance novels to kind of like compete with Harlequin, but digitally. and they said, we want to, publish it and launch it on Valentine's Day in 2012. And it launched and it went viral. The book went
Wow.
viral, and then I've never looked back. So I
You've
mean,
written 50 books since 2012?
correct.
When do you sleep?
Like 40. Yeah, well, I'm starting to get really tired.
Wow.
I felt like that was my opportunity. And so I became just voracious in using that opportunity to build my platform, because now that I had readers looking, I had all these ideas and I've always wanted to write all these years. So I just kept pumping them out and it was a joy. But now I'm tired. So I'm trying to slow down.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so what we're going to talk about, we could talk about everything, but
Yeah.
the main purpose of this is on 2/22/22,
Yes.
February 22nd, 2022, The Secret Love Letters of Olivia Moretti comes out.
Yes.
I read it. I loved it. I related to it. It was a great story. It was atmospheric. I loved it took place in Italy.
Yes.
And it was just fabulous. So why don't we tell our listeners what it's about? Because I don't want to give away any secrets.
Yes. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but basically it's a story about three sisters who lose their mom. And as we know from being human and in families, the sisters are having trouble. They're kind of estranged. They're very different personalities, and they kind of like lost touch along the way. So after their mom's funeral, they all get together to pack up their mother's house, and they find a hidden trunk in the closet. And lo and behold, in the trunk is a deed to a house on the Amalfi coast in Positano, and a bunch of love letters to their mom from somebody named R with no address. And they start reading these love letters, and they realize that this has been a romance in their mother's life since she was young and over the years, and they have had no idea that this even existed. And so the story really launches into an exploration. They all decide to go to Positano to settle up the house and try to figure out who their mom really was and track down her hidden lover. And it's just this adventure story, but it's got so much. I mean, it's got romance, because life to me is a romance. It's a love story, whether it's between, friendship or siblings or dogs or, romantic love, first love. There's so many different types of love that I love to explore in it. And as they track down and go through these experiences together, they start kind of, relearning who they are as a person, bonding again from their past, and just starting to find their own path. They've kind of lost their way, as we all do. Like when we look back at our childhood, don't you wonder sometimes, wow, I had such purity here, I had passion here, I thought this, and then the world just kind of takes a hold of you and kind of like, I kind of feel like it's a dog with a bone. Sometimes you get shaken up, and then you're like, okay, I'm not going to do that, or I'm not going to do that. You build these walls, you become different people. But at the same time, you really are that same person that had a child, that purity. And so it's kind of like they start reconnecting with who they were as children, who they want to be in their life, where they found themselves, the choices that they've made. And so it's just this whole adventure between siblings and between figuring out who they were, and the mom-daughter relationship, which I think is so huge. They've always thought of their mom, as most of us do, as kind of one role, the mother or maybe the wife. They don't see that person as other than a parent, like that mom had these secret loves or had their own passions in life or made their own hard choices as a woman. And so for the very first time, that kind of image of their mom explodes, and they start to find out who she really was. And the reader gets to find out not just about the sisters, but the story about the mom from by the time she was 18 and arriving in Positano, and through her life and the choices that she makes. So there's a lot of richness, I think, to the novel. And I loved writing it. I loved writing it in so many different ways. It was just a joy. I wrote it through the pandemic, and I felt like that was my rope to living in Italy and just having like this light of like this story that I hung on to. So I'm so glad that you were able to really resonate with it and relate.
Yeah, I loved it. Did you go, have you been to Italy? Is that somewhere you've been a lot, or?
I have. Italy is kind of my heart country. Like I've just loved it. I've been there 3 different times. I've done tours. I've been all the way from Rome up to Switzerland. I love the Amalfi Coast. I have not been to Positano myself, but I have done extensive research. So I feel like I've been there. I feel like by the time it was funny, I would write all day. And then, you know, my husband would be like, okay, dinner's on the table. And I would feel like I should be having an Italian meal with limoncello and stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, but I was just in Positano all day, you know? Yeah. My boys are like, no, Mom, you're back in New York.
I see right behind you our Italian summer. So the book you wrote the year before was also took place in Italy, I see.
Yes, it's so I think Italy is so ripe for romance, adventures, vacation, figuring out who you are. So I love using that as a background, as a springboard for my characters. And I just love going back to it.
Are there other books that you wrote that take place in Italy too, or?
Yeah, there was a series that took place in Italy. Yes. On and off. I love to write about big Italian families. I'm Italian. So, I mean, I kind of grew up with like, you know, Sunday dinners with like 18 people at the table, 18 courses, my grandmother making gravy and, you know, neck bones and all this stuff. Unfortunately, I did not carry the gene of good cooking like my mom has. I'm so sad about that. But just going back to Italy and the traditions and family and the zaniness of Italians together and how passionate they are and loud. I'm so loud. I use hand gestures. I just love exploring that. There's a lot of material there for me. So I think that's like a comfort zone.
So you said you wrote this during the pandemic.
Yeah.
We've spoken to a lot of authors, and a lot of them say their lives didn't change that much during the pandemic because as an author, you're pretty much writing on your own anyway. So did you find any changes during the pandemic?
I mean, other than the chaos and devastation going around, I have a brother and sister-in-law in the medical field. And so that came close. And I had an uncle who I almost lost, as everybody has had that. Myself in my own little bubble, I flourished because my family was home and safe. I was able to concentrate 100% on writing. And what I did is I made sure that I brought in some self-care skills. I started doing meditation, which was really big. I started taking some creative classes to kind of like get my muse, you know, flowing. So I didn't feel like stuck in one thing. So it was beneficial to me. And you're right, we live in pajamas anyway. We don't go out very much. I have my 2 dogs by my side. I think it was my dog's best year. They had everybody home. Right. And so they would trot from room to room and like see my kids working at the kitchen table, my husband upstairs. Right. So yeah, I mean, I think our industry, I do know a lot of authors who were blocked from emotion. Again, it can hit in so many different ways. So I'm glad that I was able to have that book to work on and it worked out well.
That's great. Yeah. It really took me to Italy and I haven't been there. So it's the place my husband and I would love to go. And maybe one day we will get there after this pandemic is over. But it was so, you know what? I can like picture it as a movie.
Yes. I kind of wrote it like as a movie. I tried to, when I wrote, it was important to me that the reader feels like they're in Italy. So it's so nice to know that I did my job because sometimes, you know, when you're writing, you're like, your brain tells you what you want, but then you see what's on the page and you're like, did I do it? Did I make it what I dreamed it to be? Yeah. And so I was always going over like textures and flavors and scents and what things looked like and trying to get like all of our 5 senses into the book also, along with the emotion. So I'm really glad that and food, of course, I want everybody to go, you know, put down the book and be hungry, like, because food is such an important part of my life.
I don't know if it influenced me, but I want to eat pasta every single day. Like, I It's all I want. Just,
Yes.
I'm happy eating
And why
pasta.
shouldn't we? I mean, pasta is such a beautiful dish. I mean, it's
the
got
best.
all the ingredients of happiness.
Right. Pasta and a nice bread and some ripe
Yes.
tomatoes. And it's just
Yes.
perfect. But book
Yes.
is just, yeah, it just,
The
I
year
had
of the
all those
carbs.
feelings.
The year of the carbs. And
Year
I'm
of the
not
carbs.
apologizing for it anymore. That's
Yeah, no,
joy.
exactly. It's, you know what? It's the only happiness right now is the good
Yes.
food that we're able to get.
Yes, and
Hopefully.
reading is a
And
big
reading, of
escape.
course. Have you always been I mean, you said you've always been writing, so you've always been reading, I'm assuming.
I'm a huge reader. There are some authors who have actually said to me, "I don't have any time to read." But to me, if you're a writer, I read in all genres. I read all the time. I mean, every day I read, every single day. I mean, when my husband grabs the remote or whatever, I'll just grab, I have so many different things. I have like print books, electronic books, audio books. I love reading in all formats, short and long, and novellas. And I just think that the more you read and you bring in from other authors and ideas and stuff like that, you become a better writer.
Right.
It's like you have to. And then occasionally we have to leave our house to experience travel, like when you go to Italy or something, because that's where the other ideas come, like watching, eavesdropping on people and families and being out in the world. And then I come back and then I could be a hermit for a couple of months and write my book.
Where exactly did this idea come from?
This was an idea that I have always wanted to write one of these epic love stories that go through the ages. And I've always found love letters to be, I have a book on the greatest love letters ever written. And there's just something so intimate about a letter, not an email, not we're in so much technology, something written by a pen. It's just something that connects the heart. It's very romantic to me. So I wanted to do like this long distance relationship where they're connected by just their writing, because I also feel that you can know a person in a certain way, that there's vulnerabilities and barriers that come down through the written word. You feel comfortable, and so people can pour out their emotions. And I think that that relationship can go deeper. And I just want it to be also a story that would stay with people, and that somebody could remember. There's nothing like your first love. How it transitions or doesn't transition, whether you get married to your college sweetheart, how it changes over the years, and also the choices that you make. Sometimes we look back and we go, what if I had said yes to this? Or what if I had dated this guy and not this guy? It's such an interesting concept. So I kind of like put that all together and then came up with the story.
Do you have two siblings? Do you have two?
I have only one sibling.
Oh, okay.
So my best friends are like my sisters. I have a couple of friends who have sisters. So I pulled so much information, so many stories from them. And there hasn't been anybody that I talk to that will tell me about their sisters where they haven't had just issues, but normal issues, because sisters are so close. You know what I mean? They're sharing each other's clothes, and there's if they're close in age, there could be love interest and boyfriends, and who mom loves more, I've only got a brother, right? But it is a very, we're very close, but it is a comical joke in our family that every year around Thanksgiving or the holidays, we always think that our mom, I say it's the prodigal son for my mom. You loved him the most. You let him get away with murder. He was the baby. And then he's like, Mom, you always loved her. She was the daughter. She was the oldest. You let her get away with everything. And my mom is like, what is wrong with you two? So I love the idea that we're both right and we're both wrong. Like, you know what I mean? And so,
well, one of the reasons I did love it is I am one of three sisters. So I can relate. I'm the oldest. I can relate with, the fighting and the not getting along, and then the loving, I relate 100%.
I love
anybody
that.
with siblings. It's a fabulous read.
Good. And I'm so glad that I got that note, because even though I don't have sisters, I feel like I've been studying sisters from my friends, and I love the dynamics. And I have two boys, and they're 2 years apart. And I love watching brothers too, because they're very different. Like
Mhm.
women relate so differently from men. I mean, boys are like I'll see them pick on each other and it's like done in 5 minutes. Like it's done. And then, I see girls and they have crutches for weeks. You
Right.
took my lipstick. I have 4 nieces.
Oh, okay.
When they come to my house, oh my goodness. First of all, they talk all the time. It is drama all the time. I love it. But then when they leave my house, I can't believe I'm like, okay, I was meant to have boys. Like I was meant to have boys, but I love like the just, I don't know, the life of them. They're just so much. Women are sometimes so much, which
Right.
is awesome. But
I have one of each, so
oh, okay. So that's great.
it's different than how I grew up with 3 girls. So
Yes.
definitely is. So now that the pandemic is back, I guess you could say, did you have a plan to be traveling, to going to bookstores or libraries?
No,
Or
I mean, I have to say that the book world has transitioned a lot to Zooms. I think it works well for a lot of readers who can be there, who can't put boots on the ground. I think you can reach a lot of people. They've gotten comfortable in their own homes. Virtual signings, libraries is like, I grew my boys. I don't think I could have raised my boys without libraries. We were there twice a week. We would take out 15 books a week and they grew up on reading. Sometimes I think that's why I had children too. I'm like, oh my God, I got to read all the best books all over again. I still chase them. They read on their own. I'm like, have you read this? Have you read this?
Yeah, right.
They're like, Mom, I could do this on my own now. But I mean, libraries is such a good way like to reach readers. And so I think we're comfortable. And I know that authors, even though we like to put on makeup and do our hair sometimes, we're really kind of solitary creatures. So it's really
Introverts.
nice. Yeah, we're kind of introverts. So it's really nice to be in your own comfortable surroundings, be able to talk about the book and stuff
You
like
don't
that.
seem like an introvert. You seem very outgoing.
I love when I get around people, I love talking with people, but then once I'm in my home, it's a running joke around. My husband is extremely social. So
Okay.
he'll go and he'll be like, honey, you want to go walk the dogs? This is that. I go, oh no, there's people out there. Like they'll stop me like I'm in a neighborhood. And he's like, oh, there's something wrong with you. And I'm like, oh no, I don't want to see anybody.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I could go both ways.
So did you do book tours at all for any of your books?
I did. In fact,
Okay.
back in the day, back in 2013, I did the coolest thing ever. I was with Simon & Schuster, and they sent me with 7 other authors on a bus for 10 days. And we went through a dozen bookstores. We had lines. It was all like big romance authors. It was literally an experience. It's so close to my heart, like living on a bus with other authors. We bonded with our readers. That was back in the day when it was like big, like, there was a lot of book tours and stuff going on. So
Are you still friendly with some of those authors?
yes, we're still super close, every single one of them.
Oh,
Because
that's so
kind
great.
of like shared an experience. Yeah. The book world is smaller than you think. I mean, I go into a bookstore or library, and one of my favorite games is I drag whoever I'm with over and I go, I know that person and this person just put out a book. And you feel so proud because you're just in this genre. And
I do the same thing, but I read that one and I read that one. I don't know them, but I read them.
It's fun, right? And it's just like, I don't know, reading books and collecting books and talking about books. To me, it's universal. And with the pandemic, what I saw a lot of is people going back to it. People who were, yes, they binged Netflix and they did a lot of stuff and they did masterclass. Like that's all great. But I saw this big surge of people going back. Like there's so much noise in their head. Like you can only binge watch for so long before your head feels like you're going to explode, right? Like after 10 seasons of this. Right. And then they found books again because it's such a quiet way of just going away from yourself for a while.
Right. You said you listened to audiobooks.
Yeah.
Are your books, is this book going to be out on an audio also?
Yes, the audio is, the audio is going to be.
Who's the narrator?
It's got, there's like 4 narrators.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
I love that.
4 narrators for every.
Now I'm going to have to listen to it also.
You're going to have to listen to it. They're still working on it. It's going to drop when the book drops.
Okay.
and it's going to be great. The book's going to be everywhere. I mean, in libraries, eventually it's going to be in all the bookstores. It's going to be on audio. It's on digital.
Yep.
And,
I already purchased it on Overdrive, so it'll be on our
great.
Overdrive collection.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
And I think what's nice about it is, I mean, Valentine's Day is a fun, you go back to kind of like, again, the love letter theme, families, but then you've got Mother's Day, which is like so good. And then it's a great beach read. So I think it's just going to hit all the notes for whenever you're in the mood for a certain piece of the book. The book hits a lot of notes, which I love too.
Right. I know you said you read a lot. Who are some of your favorite authors? Who do you like to read?
I read so much. One of my favorite contemporary romance authors is Susan Elizabeth Phillips. She's one of my favorites. I think she nails characters so well. Christina Lauren, of course, is wonderful.
Love them. I
was on the bus
to them. They're wonderful.
Were they on the bus with you?
Lucky you.
Yeah, I know. And they're just as good in person as they are. They are the loveliest people you have ever met.
Yeah, we've spoken to them. They are lovely.
Yes, they are. If I was like right on my perch or open my Kindle, I could tell you like I just finished Stephen King's latest, Billy Summers, which I loved. I'm a huge King fan. Oh my goodness, there's so many. I'm trying to think of what I'm reading right now. Oh, The Plot. I just picked up The Plot. That was like a big thriller book. I read thrillers and suspense and horror, and I love every single type of romance book. And I'm just all over the mark. Did you read The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner? I have that. I just bought that.
Okay, it's excellent.
That was really good. Yes.
Yeah.
The people who I met on vacation, Emily
Henry, fabulous.
I think she is, she's just got such a delicate flavor. She can do dialogue and banter like no other. The last romance I finished was The Love Hypothesis.
I love that by Allie Hazelwood.
Yes.
That was excellent.
I love the science and the kind of nerdiness. It kind of like gave a fresh perspective.
Right. I love that one also.
There was another, The Other Black Girl, that won a lot of awards.
Yes,
that was cutting edge. No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. Loved that.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to that one yet.
Yeah, so I could just go on and on. I think I got like a dozen books for Christmas that I just.
Oh, that's great.
That's kind of like my fun.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
You must get a lot of ARCs asked to blurb on them.
I do. I get a lot. I'm so blessed that anybody would want to put my name on it. And I've got a lot of friends in the writing world. So sometimes, I'm so sorry if that's recording. Those are my dogs.
That's okay.
Probably another box from the post office. But yeah, I try to get to as many as I can, but I also don't want to put my name out there on everything that crosses my desk, just because I like the idea that even though I love so many things and I'm so many genres, I love the idea that when I do, it's kind of like a stamp, like, okay, I'm not going to blurb too many, and this was special and I want to put it out there for you.
Right.
So it's kind of a balance.
Publishers Weekly said about your newest one, Probst tugs at the heartstrings.
Yes.
That was nice.
Great book list just came out with a wonderful review for the book.
Oh, good. I'm sorry I didn't see that, or I would have read that one too.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's starting to trickle out. Like, it's on NetGalley, and we're down to like less. I think we've got 6 weeks before it goes live, and I'm going to be doing a lot of things online, other podcasts, virtual book signings. I'm going to be out and about in February.
Okay, that's so wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great. Great. You guys have snow up there in New York? Upstate?
Not yet, but they're saying it's coming. My boys were so funny. They were like, Mom, it's 75% snow. I don't think we're gonna have school tomorrow. They're so cute. They're just like, they need a day off already.
They're not going virtual like all the other schools down here are gonna do?
No, we're still going full time.
Still doing snow days?
Yeah, they've got up to 7, because in the Hudson Valley where we are, we get a lot of weather. Like, our roads get pretty bad. So there's a lot of delays and stuff. Got a lot of country roads, like in the mountains. So the buses have to be more careful. So they give the schools 7 days. And then after that, they'll do remote. So instead of like taking off from their spring break or something, they'll just go remote, which I think is a great balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a good balance. It really is. And it's beautiful where you are. Do you have any books set in your area?
Yes,
Oh,
guys,
okay.
I have an entire series based on the Hudson Valley.
Oh, wow.
I used to do horseback riding at this private farm, a rescue farm. That was kind of my stress release. And this farm, I would go every Thursday for an hour. It was like my downtime away from my computer. I was starting to get a little squirrely with work, and I always wanted to do that. I loved horseback riding. And after about 8 months, I said to the owner, I'm going to write a series about this horse ranch. And she's like, really? And I go, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And so I created, it's called the Stay series. I get so much reader email on it. I use a lot of Hudson Valley places, real places, from like restaurants and locales. I wrote about the horse rescue farm. I built my own little bed and breakfast, the Robin's Nest Inn. And I created this entire world like right here in my backyard. And it was so funny because I would get readers that were like, oh, I wish something existed like the Strawberry Festival. And I'm like, yep, it's here. We're having one this weekend. So it was a really nice time to kind of introduce readers to my world here.
Okay, what series is that?
It's called the Stay series. It starts with the start of something good. And there's 4 books in the series. And yeah, and there's tons of there's
writing it down. I definitely want to read it.
Yeah, and if you love rescue animals, I have, as you saw from my bio, I love rescue animals.
We have a rescue dog.
Okay, so there's rescue dogs, there's rescue horses. There's a rescue chicken called Hey Hey that has become very famous. My readers will post pictures about Hey Hey.
Oh, that's funny.
Rescue chicken. So I just have a lot of fun with it. Yeah. Yeah, I think you can take what you know and twist it to have a lot of fun with stuff like that.
Are there wineries up there?
Yes, there's tons of wineries.
And you've written about that too in the book?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Very
Who doesn't
nice.
love wine? Wine, food, like anything I can. Anything that I can write about that gives me joy, you know, starting a series. My latest series wrapped up and that was set in Cape May. Do you know Cape May, New Jersey?
I haven't been there. Of course, I've heard of it.
Yeah. I wrote a series. It's one of my favorite places for vacation. I've been vacationing there like over 20 years. So I wrote a series that just took place there about a wedding bridal business with 3 sisters.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just, there's always something new along the way that you want to introduce to your readers or explore.
No. We live close to the Hamptons, so that's kind of where we like to go out there.
So
and
pretty down in
Have you written about that? That's a good.
No, but you know what? It's funny that you said that. I was thinking about Hamptons or Montauk. My brother lives in Long Island.
Oh, okay. Are you from this area?
No, but I'm always in Stony Brook.
Oh, okay.
I'm always in Stony Brook because that's where all my nieces live and stuff like that. So he kind of settled out there for medical school and stopped there, and I stayed in the Hudson Valley.
Oh, okay.
But Long Island is beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's just like you said, there's like hidden treasures everywhere. So maybe it's time to write a book in Long Island.
Right. Research is easy.
Yeah.
You're not far at all.
Yeah. And the Hamptons there's something very lively about the Hamptons. There's a lot there.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place. You don't have to be a millionaire to enjoy it. So,
well, I may be tapping you for some research.
Yeah, we went just recently to one of the wineries out there.
Yeah,
it's nice. It's really nice to hang out there. It's beautiful, especially in the summer.
Yes,
go to the beach. The beach is beautiful. I love it out there. I really do. But it was so nice talking to you.
Yes,
I just want to tell all of our listeners, it's The Secret Love Letters of Olivia Moretti. Great read. I think you'll all enjoy it. You can call us. We'll put it on hold for you.
I hope you do. I can't thank you enough for letting me be here today. I told you there's nothing I'm more passionate about than libraries. It saved me when I was raising my kids, and it's such a great place to discover new authors and try new things. And I really just hope that your readers are going to love the book.
I can't see why they won't. I will be putting it in plenty of my readers' hands, our patrons' hands. There's no doubt about it. I will be highly recommending this book. So
thank you so much.
We're going to close the chapter on Turn the Page. I'm Evelyn, and I'm here with our special author, Jennifer Probst. Book comes out February 22nd, 2022,
Yes,
which is
two.
2222, right?
Yes.
2222, right. So
Yes,
it's a great
I'm getting
day.
a lottery ticket on that day.
Yes, absolutely. It's a great, I think I'll do the same. It's a great day for a
Good
book
for
to
us.
come out. Okay, thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank you, Evelyn.
It's time to close this chapter of Turn the Page. Join us for the next episode.